Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for the introduction. Some of you may wonder, right, what's WorldPay all about, right, and who's WorldPay, right? You have seen lanyards. I do have one here, right? You have seen the WorldPay name. We are not exactly an airline, right? So today I'm just pleased to introduce you to WorldPay and the reason why we are here, right? Basically, WorldPay used to be part of the Royal Bank of Scotland, and we are one of the biggest cards payment processor in the world, right? Still is today. And the reason why we are here, of course, is we have been servicing lots of airlines for the last 20 years or so, right? We have like 70, 80 over airlines that's using our payment services. And it is through this experience that I'm here today to share our experience, right, with you guys, right? I'm very honored. My name is Linus again. I'm very honored to be speaking amongst all the airline veterans and the experts, right, in this industry, right? So without further ado, let me share the agenda that I'm going to present, right, for the next 15 minutes or so. Basically, what WorldPay has done, right, over the last few months is that we have conducted a survey amongst all our airline clients, right? We have done like 68 interviews with all our airline clients, airlines in particular. Right, the survey is done amongst, if you can see the breakdown, we have interviewed airlines from the traditional carriers, right, budget carriers and all the niche airlines. And I think if you're coming from one of the airlines, I'm quite sure you're definitely coming from one of the traditional airlines or not, right? You're definitely part of the airlines that we have surveyed. So what we have done and what we have surveyed amongst all our airline clients is that we have asked them exactly, as part of today's agenda, is that how are you going to make more revenues? What are the different ways to make more revenues? And where WorldPay come from, right, is that, right, we want to ask the airlines whether they are actually considering using payments as a source of income rather than just a byproduct or byprocess or just operations, right? We want to actually impress amongst all our airline clients and all the airlines who are here today, right? And we like to ask a question whether you see payments not just as a service that you want to meet your customer demand, but do you see payments as a way to actually maximize or increase your revenue? And through this survey, we want to share with you the results of our survey. We want to also send a message to you across that payments is not just something that you do along the way. Payments, if it's taken strategically, if it's planned strategically, it is also a source, a conduit for you to actually collect more money earlier, faster, reach more customers, expand your market reach, more coverage, and along the way, right, increase the income and the bottom line for your airline, right? So basically, I'm more than happy to share the results of our survey, right, with you today. From the results of our survey, there's actually 3 trends, right, that I can share with you. Right, I'm not exactly from the airline, right? I don't speak all the hedging strategies or capacity or questions like that, but I've been working in the airline industry, or I've been working in the payments industry for the last 15 years. So for anything payments related, I'm more than happy to share our experience, my experience with you today, right? So what are the payment trends today, particularly in the airline space, right? We have uncovered 3, all right, which within my limited time, of course, I hope to share as much as possible. The first trend in payments and how it relates to the airline is that we realize that payments is not just cash anymore, not just your Visa and MasterCard, right? Airlines is going more and more, expanding overseas, going through direct channels. So as you expand into more countries globally, as you expand into more channels, of course, right, you got to reach out to the customers that is really in a particular corner of the world. And in order to reach that particular customer, right, you need to enable them to pay in a way that they are most comfortable with, that may not be cash anymore. It may not be Visa, MasterCard because they may not have, right? So as you sell to more exotic countries per se, right, you have to sell and you have to allow them to actually pay to you in their most convenient way. So one of the trends that we uncovered today is that there are more and more alternative payments, not just your Visa, MasterCard anymore, right? So what are these? All right, I guess this is something that I'll share with you later. The second trend that we realized that, that's no surprise, which is mobile services, mobile payments. I'm quite sure you guys carry a smartphone everywhere you go, all right? And today, smartphones comes in many, many operating systems, which then, right, gives many multitudes of problems, right? But that's not to say that mobile and mobile payments is not something, right, that is catching up, especially amongst airlines, right, in a payment space, in the payment side of things, right? I'm quite sure you guys have used your mobile phone to buy something before, whether is it comfortable, or whether is it friendly, right? That's something that is to be improved, and the survey will also uncover or will also reveal, right, that mobile payments is something that airlines is looking into it, right, particularly, right, and there's lots of investment going in there, which I'll share with you later. The third trend, of course, is as airlines sell to more countries, they sell direct, right, they sell and collect their revenues, their sales through different channels, different payment methods. The third trend is not exactly a trend per se. The third is probably a side effect of multitudes of payment methods, multitudes of payment channels, right? So the third result of it is, of course, right, presents a challenge to the airlines, right, to actually manage all the data that's coming in, right? You have a fraud, for example, in a particular country, right? So do you know exactly the fraud? Is it coming through a mobile channel? Is it coming from a particular card? Is it coming from a particular distribution channel? Right, so these are the kind of challenges and questions that airlines ask themselves today. And this is where WorldPay can help, of course. And let me share exactly more details into the three trends, right, that we have asked and which we have uncovered from our survey with the airlines. The results show that most airlines agree today, right, that one of the ways to increase revenue or one of the ways to differentiate, right, yourselves, the airline, with the rest of the other airlines is actually being able to offer something, alternative form of payments, right? Payments is not just a simple service anymore. It is a way to actually grow, right, your sales revenues, right? In fact, right, our survey have showed that if you offer more local, more customized, more domestic payment methods that the locals is used to paying, right, it actually increase your top line, increase your sales, right? So this is already a given, and most airlines already knew that, right? It's about what payment methods, what countries are you selling, which are your key markets, and in those key markets, right, what are the popular payment methods, right? So in doing so, the airlines must ask themselves, right, how is the best way to go about doing it? Right? So maybe I'll share with you exactly, I talk about payments, I talk about all the alternative payment methods. So what are they, right, basically, right? What we see and what we use and what we pay today is using cash, okay? So that's without a doubt, right? And most of us will have used your Visa, MasterCard, or Amex card to buy our air tickets, right? So that's quite a given as well, right? But airlines, depending on what countries you want to grow to, if you want to grow to India, right, are you just going to accept just Visa, MasterCard? If you want to sell routes to China, for example, do you just accept Visa or MasterCard, or do you do more, right? So it all depends on what countries, right, are important to you. What countries are the key markets for the airlines, right? We think that, of course, most airlines would today by now accept Visa, MasterCard, all the international credit cards today, right? But what the airlines are not exactly doing very well, right? Some better than the rest, are offering the different alternative payment methods, right? What are they? It could be your air miles, it could be your loyalty points, it could be very popular e-wallets today like PayPal, right? Hugely popular, right? If you sell to China, of course, there are the China UnionPay, right? Of course, then there's the Alipay. If you sell to Brazil, then there's a Boleto, right? You sell to Russia, then of course there's a Yandex. So there are myriad of alternative payment methods out there, right? For you to use the opportunity, the technology to actually increase your reach and to increase your sales revenue, right? So payments, there's a plenty. What is conclusive, right, of our survey is it's not just going to be Visa, MasterCard, cash alone, right? Airlines need to think what more they can do, right? What more they can do to actually meet the demand, right, from your customers, the airlines' customers. Our survey also showed that most airlines already know, right, that they need to do this. It's just that the speed, right, the challenges each and every airline faces, right, is different. But still one conclusion is that, right, airline knows that they have to basically introduce more local payment methods, domestic payment methods, because the market actually asks for it. There's actually the underlying driver that we have uncovered, the underlying reason why airlines introduce more and more different payment methods is the local customer demand. The customer demands it, right? Of course, not just to meet customer demand, right? Payments can be used to increase your reach, make more sales, lower the processing fees, lower the fraud rates, right? So these are the other benefits that comes along, right, with the airline introducing more and more alternate payment methods, right? So basically the airlines is convinced, right, and our survey actually showed, right, all these different payment methods, right, is actually what the airline has planned for the coming years. The reasons, of course, I think just to reiterate, the main driver is, of course, meeting customer demand, right? Because not everybody have Visa, MasterCard. It's as simple as that. But there's also many other reasons associated with being able to bring more payments, right, into your services, allowing your customers to pay in their preferred payment method, right? And of course, reduce costs because Visa, MasterCard, right? It costs something to process a Visa, MasterCard transactions. I come from that industry and I can attest to it. If you look at the more local payment methods, then of course it's cheaper. Singapore, there's NETS. China, there's CUP, right? That's a lot more local payment methods, right, that you can actually think of, right? So these are the things, cost considerations, market considerations, and of course, right, one of the main drivers is, of course, how the airline can use this to differentiate themselves, right, to actually upset the competition, right? So these are the different ways, the different regions, the different reasons, and the benefits of how payments, different payment methods can help the airlines. Right, some of the results of our survey, it actually shows that if you look at the top half of the chart, it really shows the airline is really in the process of introducing new payment methods. Of course, what the airline has today is the Visa, the MasterCard, the debit card, the charge card. But a lot of airlines already have alternative payments already in their plan, right? It has, right, from our survey, shows that it has the most potential to increase their revenue, right? But it is also the most penetration at this point in time. So we can see over the next few years, more and more airlines is going to invest, right, in all these different alternative payment methods, right? So this is what our survey has conveyed. Right, again, the benefits, right? Reach more markets, increase your sales revenues, reduce your costs, right? So basically, right, we have lots of reasons why airlines is investing into alternative payments. Right, the next I mentioned is mobile. I think that's without a doubt, all right? Most of the airlines is already thinking of something along the mobile technology. Exactly how to harness the mobile technology is what airlines is thinking about right now. and most airlines are in different stages of doing that, right? From our side, from a payments point of view, right? Payments is another channel, right, that helps you to increase your sales or to bring in sales. So combining payments and mobile, I think this is a very natural fit. If you're thinking about mobile, right, then of course, besides all the mobile services that you can deliver through a mobile technology, right, most airlines is also thinking of how to harness the mobile technology to collect payments, right? So this is what our survey have concluded as well. If you really look at mobile, it is a technology by itself, right? To us, it's not exactly a payment method per se. It is a technology, right? It is also a sales distribution channel, right? Something which it is quite conclusive is that, right, throughout the last few years, there are more technology coming on stream, like you may have heard NFC, you may have heard more airlines investing in kiosks to manage mobile services, standalone services, payments, so on and so forth. So there's a myriad of new technologies coming to the picture, right? But what we realize is that whilst the benefits or the penetration or the adoption of NFC is still unclear, the adoption of kiosks and airlines using kiosks to service your customers, of course there's benefits associated with it, right? But it is still not as well adopted as much as we like or as much as we think over the last few years. But what is clear amongst all the airlines is that they are all convinced, right? Amongst all the new technologies, mobile seems to be the way to go, right? This is what most of the airlines that we have surveyed all can agree on. They may not agree that NFC is the way to go. They may not agree that maybe having more kiosks is the way to go, but one thing for sure they can all agree on is that they want to do something with the mobile technology. And of course, I think, right, so this is a slide, sorry, I missed it earlier. Right, so this is the results, right, of our survey. Like I said, they are not that clear on the alternative technologies, but what they are really clear on is at least the mobile technology, right? Everyone is convinced, right, that they need to invest in mobile technology. The motivations of it is of course quite clear as well, right? I think since everyone holds not just maybe for me, or at least I hold two phones, right? So at least one, if not two, right? Everyone is like holding on to a smartphone today, right? So it's very clear that airlines will want to reach out to more customers, to a broader market. And if in some countries even, right, the penetration of mobile phones devices is more than the internet, right? So it's very natural that one of the main drivers for airlines to adopt or to invest into mobile technology is to meet customer demand, right? Because that's how they will be able to satisfy, differentiate themselves, generate more revenues per se, right? So there are of course many other reasons, right, to keep up with competition, increase revenue, but the main driver is still, right, to meet your customer demand. Our survey have also showed that airlines, right, if they are not doing so, right, they are already in the midst of considering mobile technology as part of their technology investments, right? So most airlines and some of the major ones, they have actually invested, right, into mobile, delivering services through handsets, delivering services through their mobile devices, right? If you look at the top half, some of the airlines is already today delivering payment services, right, through mobile devices. And if they are not doing so, most of them are already planning to do so over the next 1-2 years. So this is what we can basically conclude. So if you look at all the new technologies today and all the new trends today, right, basically what's really stopping us, what's really holding us is basically, it's not as simple as, right, just introduce a new payment method. Let's accept Alipay tomorrow. Let's accept PayPal tomorrow. Let's increase our sales. It's not as simple as that, right? As much as, right, Most people think so. It's the same for mobile technology. It's not as simple as, hey, let's just accept payments through the phone. There are a lot of challenges that airline faces. You may be making a payment, you may be buying a ticket today using your handsets, but question is exactly how friendly is it? What is the user experience? Most airlines have not gotten it right yet, right? So there's a lot to think about. What new payment methods? What new payment methods to increase? What new payment method to add, right? How do we do mobile payments, right? What's the customer experience? How do we make it more simple? How do we make it easier for the customer to pay over the mobile phone, right? So basically, this is the challenges that the airline faces. This is the objective that airlines want to achieve. Underlying that challenge is basically because the airlines have their own internal systems and internal processes. And it's not as simple as just bringing a new distribution channel into the picture. It's not as simple as just introduce a new payment method per se, right, into the whole entire processes, right? So if you look at mobile technologies, there are myriad of phones, like I said, each with their own different operating systems, right? Yet again, that poses a challenge as well. Not forgetting mobile security, payment security, data security. So if you look at the whole works, it's quite a big challenge and a big headache, actually, right? So before the airline embark on any strategy to actually broaden your sales, broaden the coverage, sell to more countries, increase the scope of the countries that you cover, increase your routes, it is always wise to work with a partner, to work with a card processor, a payment service processor that can help you look at what are the different payment methods that is relevant to you and your markets today. It is good for you to work with a payment processor that understand the challenges of how we can bring payment processes and streamline it into your own internal airline-owned internal processes and operations, right? It is from experience that we have, that the payment processor company like WorldPay has today, working with 60, 70 airlines, that we can share with you exactly how it can be done. I think 5 years ago when I started to speak to airlines, the thing about airlines 5 years ago is that they just want to go online. Just go online as fast as possible, let's sell direct as fast as possible, increase revenues, right, make more money, right? I think 5 years ago, the challenges is different. Everybody just want to go online. 5 years now, I guess it's a new challenge entirely, right? Pressure is still there, top line, bottom line pressures is still there, right? We all is still in this industry, right, to see how much more revenues we can make. But the challenges today is a bit different now, right? We want to reach more customers, reach more countries, right? But it's a whole different market conditions that the airlines have to consider now, right? We got to consider, right, how do you want to manage data, bringing in all the different payment methods, bringing in all the different channels of sales. Eventually, the airline has to think of how to bring all these processes into the picture. How do you manage all the different data coming from different channels, coming from different payment methods, right? So these are the questions that the airline has to ask themselves, right? Exactly whether is the airline, is it better for the airline to go directly, to approach every Alipay, to approach every PayPal, to approach every CUP, or to work through a partner that can manage all these challenges for an airline? I think to conclude, this is my last slide. Basically, I think what we can conclude is that the demand is definitely there, right? But how the airline is going to approach to meet this customer demand is something which I think most airlines is still a bit unclear about, right? So where we can share is that the demand is there. We know what we need. We know what we need to do. We know we need to sell in more ways than one, accept payments in more ways than one, increase new distribution channels to reach more countries, and to manage all the data that's available out there, right? So the challenges is there. right? So this is what we can share with you. But the most important thing of all is that the airline has to start thinking about how to manage as you invest in new technologies. How do you manage your technology investment? How do you do it in the most cost-effective way, time-to-market way, right? So this is where we actually think that going through a payment service provider like WorldPay, who already has like 200 connections to 200 different payment methods, could help. And with the experience that we have with over 70 airlines, right, the data that we can share with you, the analysis that we can share with you, right, for you to improve and for you to build more and more channels, build more and more payment methods, I guess this is the strategy, right, that we can deliver, right, together with the airline, right, with that, right, thank you.